Terry?
Mr. President, some newly released documents raise questions about some statements by Mrs. Clinton on the White House Travel Office firings and her role in representing the Madison Guaranty Savings and Loan Association. Do you think it would be a good idea for her to testify before Congress to clear up these issues?
Well, she has said that she will do whatever is necessary to answer all the appropriate questions, and I think that she should do that. And I think that we will determine in the days ahead together what is necessary. She has begun to answer those questions. We'll be doing some more of that before the week is out, and I presume we'll be doing quite a lot of it in the days ahead. So, and as you know, there was a hearing, I think, today on part of this matter in the Senate, and will be another one next week. These questions should be answered. Let me say, for 4 years, as these questions have come up, we have tried to answer them all. We have tried to be fully cooperative, and we will be in this case. And I think she should do what is necessary to answer the questions. That's what she said she'll do, and I think that's what will happen.
In the pale, though, testifying, do you?
Well, I think I want to leave it the way I said it today. I think whatever is necessary to fully answer the questions, she will do. That's what she said she would do, and I think we should keep going there. Go ahead.
Mr. President, when you campaigned in 1992, you and the First Lady both said that the American people would get two for the price of one. Wondered if that's still going to be a slogan in 1996, and if the First Lady has really taken the role that you envisioned for her as First Lady, or if she's just simply become too controversial.
Well, first of all, I think she's done a fine job. I may have asked her to do more than anybody should ever have been asked to do when I asked her to undertake the health care effort. But there are worse things than wanting every American child to have health care coverage, just the way every child in every other advanced country in the world has. I believe that, you know, in the last 6 months or 8 months, she wanted to take a lot of time off to write her book, which she did do. And I think the book is a very important contribution to America, which reflects 25 years of work, learning, and exposure on her part. And I expect that she will continue to be an enormous positive force in this country. And in terms of controversy, very often in this town, you know, you don't make yourself controversial, someone else makes you controversial. So I don't think you can do anything about that, especially in the wake of the health care issue.
If I could just follow up, sir, are you saying that her conduct, especially involving the travel office and the discrepancies in what she said about her involvement in Madison Guaranty, whether that these things have nothing to do with the controversy?
Well, let me tell you, you are assuming something that has not been proved. No discrepancies have been established. Now, we were all concerned, as we have all said, that we kept hearing all these reports after we got here that there were problems with the travel office. Turns out there were problems with the travel office, and they were serious. An accounting firm said they were serious. Those have been corrected. The American people should feel good about that. We also said, Mr. McClarty did, who was then the chief of staff, undertook his own review and said the matter wasn't handled well and detailed why. There had been something like 7 reviews of the travel office. So I would dispute your characterization. An allegation is not the same thing as a fact. And particularly, I would remind the American people when it comes to the whole Whitewater issue, the allegations have often, and as a matter of fact, virtually always, borne no relationship to the facts. That's really the story of this for the last 4 years. An allegation comes up, and we answer it, and then people say, well, here's another allegation, answer this. And then here's another allegation, answer this. That is the way we're living here in Washington today. We're going to do it. And I would ask that the American people are fundamentally fair-minded. And as I would say, I just ask all of you to listen to the answers and do what the American people will do. Make up your own mind. Yes, Brian.
Mr. President, do you worry about the cumulative effect of this drumbeat, which is getting louder? As of close of business today, there will be more people under subpoena in the travel office matter than were fired in the travel office matter. And second, you must have discussed why it is, even if cleared in the end of all charges, why it is your wife, the First Lady, appears to be arguably the most controversial First Lady, at least in modern politics.
Since Eleanor Roosevelt, for many of the same reasons, from many of the same sources. And that's just part of what we're living through. The American people can make up their own mind about the facts of it. Yes?
To kind of stay on this theme of controversy, the end result seems to be that it's taken a toll financially on your obligations, and there's a magazine report out that's assessed your situation and basically decides that you're pretty close to bankruptcy. Could you give us a little bit of the financial toll?
I feel worse. I suppose that probably is right. I've never added it all up, but that's probably right. And I would like to remind you that today, finally, at long last, records that everybody knew existed that weren't released apparently have been released. Apparently, the Republicans finally agreed to release the Resolution Trust Corporation report, which spent another $4 million of the taxpayers' money to say what we said all along, that there is no basis even for a civil action against us, that we told the truth about the land agreement we had, that we lost the money we said we lost, that we had nothing to do with operating the savings and loan, that we took no money from it, just like we said all along. So I think that's apparently part of the price of this. I tell you, I feel a lot worse about all the innocent people who work here, who don't make particularly high salaries and don't have the net worth that we brought here, who had to hire lawyers and pay legal fees too, who were completely innocent of any wrongdoing and who have to deal with that. I think it is interesting. Let me say, I have no objection to, if anybody has a question of me, I'll be glad to keep answering them. But I do think it's interesting, when you were talking about getting the budget balanced and the controversy over Medicare, that this Congress has had over 40 hearings on Whitewater and one hearing on its Medicare bill. And if you look at and I think that's an observation worth noting. Yes, we don't know what it means.
You made a point about being open and cooperative with the special counsel and the investigating committees, and you've turned over tens of thousands of documents. The documents that were recently turned over, however, weren't turned over for a very long period of time. I'm wondering if you're concerned enough about that delay to look into why they weren't turned over, and if you found that any of your staff hadn't been cooperative with the committees, what would you recommend to do about it?
Well, first of all, I have no reason to believe that anybody on our staff has not been cooperative. And I think that every one of us who's commented on this from the other side has basically supported that. Now, on these last two matters, the people who, and let me remind you, these documents were not leaked. They were not found by investigators. These documents were found by people in the White House who turned them over. And the people who are on the committees will have every opportunity to ask them what the circumstances were in which they were found. But we told everybody that we're in the cooperation business. That's what we want to do. We want to get this over with. If I had known about these documents at the time they existed, I would have been glad to put them in an envelope myself and send them down there, because I think to just keep dragging this out is not good and not necessary. So the more the merrier, the quicker the better. Yes?
Follow up, do you though feel you've gotten a satisfactory explanation from whatever staff was involved on why they were not found, and what was that explanation?
Well, I have no reason to believe that there was any intentional failure to turn them over. I do not know. I want to wait and see what happens. They're all going to be given the opportunity to explain what the circumstances were. But our rules are clear and our record is clear. I mean, we have literally pushed, I think, over 50,000 pieces of paper to the committees now and to all the relevant other bodies. And we're clearly trying to cooperate.
Another Whitewater-related question. Money Magazine recently reported that you owe some $1.6 million in unpaid legal bills related mostly to Whitewater investigations. Is it fair that taxpayers could end up paying some of those legal bills?
Well, this is as I understand the law, the taxpayers won't pay any of the bills because I'm not a target of the investigation, which the American people might find interesting to know. As I understand it, the federal government doesn't reimburse people's legal bills unless, I think one of the cabinet members in the previous administration got some legal bills reimbursed because he was a target of an investigation and then was either acquitted or not charged or something. So I am assuming that I will be responsible in some form or fashion for those legal bills. But as I said, you know, I didn't run for this office for the money, and I feel badly that 20 years of our hard effort and savings may go away. We've received some help from some people who, as you know, have contributed to the legal expense fund. But if I stay healthy, I'll be able to pay my bills and earn a pretty good living. I'm far more concerned about the legal bills of other people that are they're smaller legal bills, but for them it's a lot of money. So I'm a lot more concerned about them than myself.